Hey folks, today we are going to talk about sensors. I've included three sensors in my setup. The first sensor determines when the train is actually coming into the inner track. I have a second sensor that determines when the train is already in the inner track. And the last sensor is when the train is almost about to leave the track. And for the purpose of measuring the distance, I've used a sensor called time of flight. It's a laser sensor, and I preferred it over a sonar and also electrical impulse on the track. So these are the sensors that I'm actually using to measure the distance. Hey folks, let's take a look at the setup. Now I've expanded my Node MCU to 3. The first Node MCU continues to control the tracks. That's the one right there. It controls the track. It also controls the double crossover. I've added a new Node MCU that's right here. And all the sensors, the three sensors, are actually connected to this Node MCU. And the last Node MCU receives the message, receives the sensor message, and based on that, it performs the action. In this case, it will stop the train, wait for 4 seconds, and then start. At a very high level, all these Node MCU talk to each other through Raspberry Pi, and inside the Raspberry Pi, it puts messages through a software called Mosquitto TT. At a very high level, let's say a train comes to the sensor puts a message saying that the train is here, and based on that message, the Node MCU receives a message, the train is there, and it will stop the train. And beyond that, it can do other function as well. For now, all three talk to each other through messages. And in future, I will put some video on how that happens, how the interaction happens, but this is kind of an architecture at a high level. All right, folks, let's see how this works in action. The first thing on the left screen, you can see that I've SSH'd into my Raspberry Pi. And on the right side, you can actually see the dashboard controller. So the first thing that I'm going to do as soon as I logged into Raspberry Pi is listen to the messages. So you can see some old messages out there. And as I've told before, every Node MCU will actually put a message into this message queue. One Node MCU put the state of the track, and that's what you can actually see. And each sensors will then put a message based on their situation. So let me first start the train. I just started the train. And you can see a track state. That's the state of the track. Now you can see the train has stopped. And that's because the sensor 1 has detected it. And after 4 seconds, the train starts. Let's wait one more. And now the train stops because the sensor 1 has detected it. And after 4 seconds, the train will start. And you can see the sensor 2 detects it. And now the sensor 3 detects it. So all three sensors look at the train, the position of the train, and then perform some action. So that's at a very high level of how the sensors work and how I integrate the sensors into the Node MCU. That's all that I had for today in this chapter, which was about sensors. In the next video, I'll give an overview of the entire system design, all the components that I've used, all the chips that I've used, all the architecture at a very high level. And I will also discuss about how the components talk to each other through messages, and I'll give an overview of the architecture. So until then, have a nice day.